What's up, my brothers? We got a requested video, a sponsored video, if you will. A guy that is from Europe married the wrong Asian woman. He seems to have a thing for Asian chicks. Before we hop into it, channel sponsor, get the finger right. Boom. Tactical Soap Company, Pheromone Infused Soap. You guys are showering anyways. Why not support the creation of content on my channel? There's a link pinned in the description and the top comment for 10% off if you check out with coupon code Cooper. All right, let's hop straight into this request. We have a long-winded one. By the way, guys, this is 5 pages long. When you do these requests, try to keep them, under 500 words. I'm going to go through this one because I went through it prior and I highlighted everything. Background. Man is from Germany. Upbringing is religious. No girlfriends, no sex before marriage. Hence, I married and probably the wrong woman out of sheer desperation. Doesn't have many friends outside of the church community. Had one girlfriend last year in university, wanted to marry her, but parents protested because she was from Madagascar. Cultures did not match, and she had the wrong faith. Spring 2008, meets wife at a Chinese meetup group in Edinburgh, in Scotland. She's Chinese. Easter 2008. Introduced her to my parents in Germany. Spring to Easter. I don't know why dudes do this. Like you've only dated her for you've only known her for a couple months and you fly her to Germany to introduce her to your parents. It doesn't make any sense. It's just, guys, you got to be smarter about these things. And I'm going to say this right now because there's a pattern that's emerging. You've probably noticed this by now, but I'm just going to hold up a mirror and point to this fact. These guys in these devout religious upbringings make a lot of bad decisions. I'm just gonna state that. I'm not suggesting that it's culture or it's religion specifically, but there's something going on there with these beliefs that you guys have, the desperation that you have subscribing to, these testament notions that are supposed to serve you that clearly don't. So you bring this girl, your parents are not amused. They protest because, again, she's not Christian, and friends are not amused because, again, she's not Christian. Because of my history, I do not heed the advice of my parents. And in August 2008, so within the first year, dude meets her in the spring, brings her to the parents in Easter, marries her in August. Here we go. In the fall, do you see a pattern? A month later, her visa runs out. Gee, I wonder why she had to marry a European, right? Guys, you're smarter than this. I know you are. My mother pointed out that to her later, and that caused a meltdown. No, Marcus is my love. You are wrong. Okay, well, let's see what happens now. At the time, he was studying for an MBA via distance learning that the fee was about 500 Great British pounds per month. So she told him, this Chinese girl, so she tells him with no visa, no job, that they cannot afford this because they have to have a family, meaning you cannot complete your MBA because she must pursue her goal of popping out children. Interestingly, she pays neither rent nor utilities, so as a stupid F, he stops his MBA. They argue about buying a house next. He was against it because they didn't have the money. She said it's cheaper to buy instead of renting. Nice argument, sweetheart. But because she's Chinese, she doesn't get a mortgage. No problem for her. She gives him the cash. They have some kind of background arrangement over here which benefits her but not him. And the housing market turns down and the property has less value than what's owed to the bank. Since that time, she knew she had him by the balls. So whenever she wanted something, she would just say, if you do not do X, then I divorce you. Since the house was not in the newest condition, so they had some repair issues with the house, which caused some conflict. He actually, as a stand-up virtuous man, returns what he was supposed to another owner of the condominium. So let's just call it a condominium. So they split the cost of the roofing repair, and she freaked out on his ass because of that. She had a fit of rage in the kitchen, saying that he was stupid, and in the process, she throws a knife to him, or at him, sorry. Luckily, it misses him by a foot and hits the microwave. Oh boy, this chick's got anger issues. She's got control issues. I did not want to have a kid with her, so I kept sex to a minimum. What is the point in getting married to somebody that you do not want to have sex with, that has bad behaviors? I'm going to show you guys again. Guys, this book, I'm going to hold it up for a little bit longer. Get the book. It is linked in the description below. The top 7 books that I recommend all men to read, The Tactical Guide to Women. If you're going to get married or an LTR any woman or live in a way that the state is going to recognize as marriage, you need to vet the chick properly. This chick has more red flags than a Chinese communist parade, this Chinese girl, but he proceeds to marry her anyway. Next thing is he knocks her up. So what happens here? Marcus, he talks about dealing with counseling, couples counseling, and her response was along the tune of, Marcus, you have the problem. You can go. I do not go. So not only does she not take ownership, she has anger issues. She has control issues on this guy, and he's allowing himself to be controlled. He's entered her frame. So January, they reconcile. They go to China to visit parents for Chinese New Year. Later on, she buys a property in the spring. Obviously, the property is ours, but when there is something to fix and hers, when the paycheck and rent so when there's something to fix, it's their property. But when the paycheck comes in, it's hers. So when the rent comes in, it's her property. Nice deal, fella. You really signed up for a bad one with this one. If there's something to fix, they have a fight over it. He tries to get her to pay for it. I mean, the good news is with matrimonial law throughout the West, and again, I'm not a lawyer. You're going to want to talk to a lawyer in Scotland about this, but all assets acquired throughout the course of the marriage, unless they're separated by a prenup that you continuously update, are matrimonial assets. So you should have to split them up. So whatever she bought there, that technically should be yours as well. In November 2013, her son arrives. Again, see above. If you don't do what I want equals get baby, I shall divorce you. After that, it really goes downhill. Shocking. You know what, dudes? I'm just going to say this with a big screen because it needs to be said. A lot of people think that they're going to fix shit by putting a bun in the oven, by knocking her up and just giving her what she wants. How's that working out for you, fellas? It doesn't work, does it? Stop doing it. Smarten up. So he's driving all over God's green earth, taking her to work because she doesn't do any driving. He does it all. Taking the kid to the nursery, which is daycare. That's what we call it over here anyway. Dropping her off, taking the kid to the nursery, picking her up and picking up the child from the daycare center. Nice life for the kid, eh? From 9:30 in the morning to 1700 hours, kid is in daycare 5 days a week. So in New Year's, they visit the parents. They have a fight about the room that they're in because she's complaining that it's too cold and they're sleeping in, and he has to sleep in another bedroom. Then she announces she wants to divorce him. When back in the UK, Christmas Germany trip, he inquired again about divorce, and then he moves out of the joint property in May 2015. Guys, you do not leave the matrimonial home if you're having problems in your marriage. You do not leave until you have a signed global separation agreement that deals with the custody arrangement of the children or the child, what happens with the assets, and so on and so forth. You stay in the matrimonial home and you go to a separate bedroom. If you need a coaching call, it's clarity.fm/Richard Cooper. Book me to talk about this. You have to strategize these things. You create all kinds of problems when you bounce out of the house. Look, guys, I know you think that it eases your life leaving the house, or she says, just leave, just go. And you're like, okay, I'll go. That sounds like a good idea to me. And then you end up in a scenario where you lose a lot of control and functionability in dealing with the matrimonial assets when you're going to have access to your child. This is what happens next. So he comes up with a custody order. He suggests an arrangement where he has his son 2 days a week and every second weekend. She objects. You do not settle for anything less than shared custody when it comes to parenting and divorce. If you want to have access to your child, if you want to make decisions, if you want to make sure that your money doesn't flow to her while she alienates you from access to your kid, you stay in the house until you have a shared parenting plan. I'll explain exactly how to do that if you book a coaching call. It's pretty straightforward. This guy's all over the place. He's flip-flopping in and out of the house. So this is the arrangement that he ends up with. Monday, with his son and his wife in the joint property. Tuesday, he's at his own flat. Wednesday, with the wife and the kid. Thursday at his own flat. Then Friday through Sunday, he shares time with the wife. This sounds like a nightmare. You're living with she's basically a Nazi. I mean, she's controlling your life, telling you what to do all the time, running the entire show with everything. It's funny because you're the German dude. And she's running you like you're a plow horse. She's turned you into this former shadow of a man. Oh man, dude, let's see. So weekend, so he's doing the restaurant thing with his kid when he gets to hang out with his wife. How does that feel, just, being granted, visitation rights to your kid? Because that's what, they like to call it. You get to visit your child. That's not what a parent's supposed to do. A parent's supposed to parent the child, supposed to teach the kid things, supposed to discipline the kid, supposed to, teach them the boundaries of the world and run them within that. This woman has given this guy no control over that. Over here, he talks about a scenario where he was putting the kid in the baby seat and the kid scratched him because he was talking about things and the nail scratched his eye and he lost eyesight. for about half a year, and he didn't want the same thing to happen again. So when his kid started doing it again, swinging his arms around, talking about things, he pushed him into the chair. Well, she used that as an opportunity to scream for child abuse. What do you say? He complained that I punched him in the stomach, and that was for my wife the cue to report me to the city council for child abuse. Since then, my son basically knows that I cannot do much. If I shout at him, stop doing something, he only needs to run to the mommy and say child abuse. So kids running the show too now. Sounds like fun, huh? All right, so he's talking about birthdays, some exams, spoil the holidays with mom. She instructed, so he lies to her about, so she wants him to move back into the matrimonial flat, which is a good idea. So, that was an advantage to you. You kept the other flat for some reason. So you lied to her about it, kept the flat. Okay. We both need to work this weekend. So now he's asking about options. This is like the today moment. So he knows he can't stay in the relationship. Good. You recognize that. It kills you more and more every day. That's okay. That's not a marriage you want to be stuck in. And you're sinking in debt and fear. And he says, especially when I read news like this, and he linked an article. Let's pop it up here. This is an article with some dude named Michael Simpson who was murdered by his wife. Parents of a man killed by his Chinese wife. So this scares like he's actually at the point where he's afraid for his life. He thinks that his wife may murder him. Okay, I do not say that to my wife. Would do it, but it still sends a chill down my spine. Well, she's throwing knives at you, dude. Wake up. Don't dismiss bad behavior. Acknowledge it. Recognize it. Again, pay attention. Be attentive to bad behavior. Do not wife up women that are broken. Save yourself the hassle. So he's presenting himself with some options. So let's go through these. Do nothing and comply with every whim my wife has. Nope, I'd skip that one. That sounds like a shitty life. Option B. Tell the solicitor to do court proceedings. Last step in Scottish divorce. My wife falls off her chair when she has her solicitor, so he thinks she's going to freak out. Well, divorce is certainly an option. Tell my wife that I changed my mind and I really do want to continue the relationship. I would do a blend of B and C if I'm being honest with you. Let's see what D was. I write an email telling my tale that it is over and then call my solicitor to initiate court proceedings. I insist on all communication done by the solicitors. Well, all of your options pretty much involve ending the marriage. So let's talk about that. Your version of B and C, well, C is basically telling her that you changed your mind, tied into B and D, which is basically ending the marriage. I would not do anything without legal advice from a lawyer in, well, I mean, you live in Scotland right now. I'm not going to say state or province because I don't even know what it's called over there. But where you live, you do not leave or make any choices until you talk to them. Questions. Do you have any questions for me? No. What are the options you'd see? What would be your preferred option? What do I tell my son, your daughter? Okay, so he's asking me my opinion. So let's go big screen here and wrap this one up real quick. Do not do anything without consulting with a lawyer. Buy an hour or two of a Scottish lawyer's time that deals in family law and ask him what this looks like for you. How is untying the knot going to look like for you? You bring everything to him. The assets. You've got a couple of properties. You've obviously got a job. There might be a pension tied into that. You've obviously got liabilities. It sounds like you're drowning in debt is one of the things that you mentioned. You didn't specify about her scenario, but it sounds like she's got some assets. I mean, it sounds like some Chinese money flew into Scotland to help purchase these properties. Either way, it sounds like you got some matrimonial assets. The other thing that you need to do that you need to be aware of, which you haven't even talked about, and I don't think that you're aware of, is you need to make sure that you spend equal time with your son. So stay in the matrimonial home. Do not rent out another flat. Do not go to another flat. Stay in the matrimonial home and just be a dad. She's going to interfere. She's probably going to yell at you. Maybe she'll throw knives at you. Get really good at dodging. Make sure you speed up your hand-eye coordination because you're going to be dodging knives instead of bullets in this one. But you're going to have to stay in the matrimonial home until you have a arrangement, and I call it a global arrangement because it deals with the parenting schedule. Again, not visitation. Schedule, the amount of time that you guys are going to spend with the child, how you're going to split it. When I say split, it's like even. A child, especially a son, a boy, needs both parents. That's very, very important for that perspective of parenting. The other side of it, of course, is if you let her have all the control and power, she can go wherever she wants. If she wants to go to China, if she wants to leave, if she wants to, change the kid's last name, hyphenate the kid's last name, if she meets another guy in the south of France and decides to fly out there with your son, I don't know what the laws say over there, but if you're a primary caregiver in many places, she can unilaterally go and do that and take your son away and make up some nonsense about you being abusive or having, anger issues or some nonsense like that. She's the one throwing darts and knives at you. I'm not hearing any stories about you having much anger, aside from the fact that you're probably pissed off at yourself for picking this woman and reproducing with her and letting her walk all over you. But that's the reality of what you got yourself into, man. So staying in the matrimonial home, as uncomfortable as it may be, move into a spare bedroom. If, she wants to sleep with your son, like if it's only a two-bedroom place, I would move into his room and let the child either sleep with her or, sleep in your room, whatever you guys settle on, but you stay in the matrimonial home. Let her, if you got to lie to her and let her know that you're trying to work stuff out, go for it. I don't really care. This woman is running your life and has been ruining your life. And if you continue to let it happen, you're going to get the same results. If you want a different output, if you want to get 3 instead of 2, 1 + 1 = 2. If you want to get 3, you need to change the equation. 1 + 2 = 3. By changing the equation, you'll get a different output. Stay in the matrimonial home until you figure out what family law says about the divorce, and then you can plan accordingly. If you want to have a coaching call, a one-on-one call, this is not the format to do it in. These kind of requests are like, here's my scenario, give me some feedback. This is an after the train wreck sort of story. So this is kind of a warning to all other guys out there. Post a comment below if this is something that you've lived through or you have some ideas or feedback for this request, of course. And that's my advice. You've really screwed up your life in this one. And I really hope that you can turn around for the sake of your kid. I hope that it doesn't end you. I hope that she doesn't do something like this dude got over here, this Michael Simpson, who was murdered by his wife. She's got anger issues. So I would certainly sleep with one eye open and close your door at night. The other thing that you can do, by the way, is we all have these mobile devices. They all have a camera on it. Keep this in your pocket, okay? Whenever she freaks out, whenever she has a spaz, if she throws a knife at you or she looks like she's about to throw a knife at you, just set the phone. If it's got a smart button, you can just swipe up and make a video. Hold the camera like this, hold it up to your chest, and protect yourself, okay? She comes at you, you start walking backwards. She's trying to corner you in the room, you leave the room. You demonstrate that you're using this as a shield, okay? You're not an aggressor. You're trying to do the right thing. If she starts freaking out at you over anything, you make a video. You become Steven Spielberg, okay? Now, you're going to have to talk to the lawyer about legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not giving you legal advice. What I'm doing is I'm telling you that there's a way that you can navigate this, which will give you access to your kid and allow you to have reasonable time with them without getting, too badly raped through the divorce machine. Luckily, you've got matrimonial assets, and it sounds like she's paid for them. So you'll find some way to leverage this out. You do have some bargaining position by staying in the house and dealing with the matrimonial assets. I'm going to leave it at that. Again, leave a comment below. Guys, again, this is pinned in the bottom description. Marriage is a retarded idea in today's world. I've said it 1,000 times. But if you are going to go down that route, if you want to be true to your Christian values and do the things that you're supposed to do to be a good man, they say that guys need to do the right thing. But what they tell women is you do what's right for you, girl. Remember that, okay? You have a life too. Live it. I'm going to leave the video at that. All right, peace out. See you guys in the next video. Talk to you guys later. Ciao.